Hello, 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 everybody. Can you see us? Can you hear us? There we are. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Hello.
Today, in remembering a hero, a legend, a man ahead of his time, an artist, a man who touched lives across the globe, transcended the medium in which he chose to work. This man was an incredible man, and I cannot believe it's been a year since his passing. But we're here today to celebrate his work, his life, and to discuss a memorial one-shot manga written by a very good friend of his, childhood friend of his, Koji Mori. We read this one-shot, and it was incredibly beautiful. It was incredibly sad, and it felt so personal. It felt like I should not be reading this.
I agree. And the ending was just even more like, wow, like we're going to get even more of this type of like story. And someone said, is the one shot canon? I mean, it says canon. It's real life.
Oh no, yeah, it's real. It's real life, dude.
It's real life
it's like too real sometimes.
Written by Koji
Mori, yeah.
Which was Miura's childhood friend from high school. I mean, their families were very close. They were planning to move, I think, to like Okinawa after Berserk ended, or was going to end, and they had plans for the rest of their life. And you know, unfortunately, with the passing of Miura, he had talked to Miura about writing like a type of, I guess, like a manga, like this one shot about his life and you know, their story, and he agreed to it, and now he's going to uphold that end of the bargain and finish that promise.
Yeah, it was crazy because you know, apparently he wanted to do it obviously while Miura was still alive, and was planning, like he planned on doing it once he hit a certain age, and thought like, oh yeah, we'll work on it together. I convinced Miura to help me with it because it was Miura's wish that this story be told, that their story be told. And Miura wanted Koji Mori to draw it and help write it, and he convinced Miura like, okay, if I'm gonna do it, you're gonna help me do it, and they were gonna do it together. But you know, of course, because of the unforeseen passing of an early passing of Miura, he is now in this position where this one shot that he wrote is, I mean, he is still very much in mourning, and he is basically saying that he wants to live up to this promise that he made to Miura. Yeah. So this one shot is you get a lot of snippets of stories, and you get a lot of you don't really get a whole lot of time spent on like one particular story. It does revolve around like the funeral ceremony, which again, I mean, I debate even like I do want to pull up some pages and show you guys some pages. But the first couple of pages, I mean, it's literally, and I don't want to, I don't mean to be disrespectful. And that's the only reason why I didn't want to, like, I was like debating even showing it, is because it's like, him looking at his friend, his childhood friend, a legend to us, but a childhood friend to him, like in his casket, and it was really hard to see that. And again, like I said, it felt so personal, like that I was not supposed to be seeing this. But again, he is just honoring the wishes of his friend. And yeah, this one shot is him saying like, this is going to come out. I'm going to make this. I'm going to do this. This isn't it, but this is, he even says like, this is my promise to Miura, to the world, and to myself, that I'm going to do it, that it's going to come out. So this is almost like a prelude to it. And yeah, the snippets that we do get of him and Miura and their life together, and their dynamic together, is so beautiful, man. They were childhood friends for 40 years. I think he said that they were friends, and that they went to school together, and that they both decided to be mangaka, or they both realized that they wanted to be mangaka. And even this guy was like crashing at the Miura's house He says that he'll go more into that at a later date, like what that all entailed, but he, had no place to go. So he was living with Miura and his family. And there was a kind of funny panel where he, draws a picture of him at the table, and he's like, "This is me, asking for seconds,
having no shame,
asking for seconds." When this family was kind enough to take me in, and then he said that he was a person who was prone to a lot of, he was more of a reckless guy, I guess. Mori was, and Miura would always worry about him, and that was the heartbreaking thing too. It's like, you always worried about me. Like, you always said that something was going to happen to me, and something happened to you, and that is like, one of the saddest things that I had read in a long time. Because again, it's real. This is a real person's life. This is a real person's life and a real person's experience, and them dealing with this. It showed them, like, it showed him getting this Koji Mori, the mangaka of this, getting in an accident and almost losing his life. And Miura, he says in this one shot that, like, if it wasn't for Miura, I would have died. I would have died on this, like, in this accident, because he says in this accident that he realized in that moment, he's like, there's only really one thing that I want that makes me want to live. And because he had walked away from manga, he had been discouraged, from the medium.
Yeah.
And he says it's shameful to admit, and some people might consider this sad. He said, but I wouldn't be alive and I wouldn't be doing this without Miura. And a lot of people, might think that that's sad. He goes, but I don't care. It's the truth, and I love this man.
Yeah, I really did love that part of the one shot too, because it was so personal. Obviously they're like super close friends and they've known each other for so long, and he had that impact on his life. And he even said, when I stopped doing manga, Miura never like pushed me to when are you gonna start again. He kind of just like led him on whatever path he was going on until he finally got back to it. And I just thought it was interesting because how much he was inspired by Miura, because Miura just kept going, and he would even talk to him and like consult him about like the beginnings of Berserk, and how that panel when they're in Miura's office or something, and they're like in a story, and they're high up and there's glass and looking at the city, and he's even saying like, you have an anime, you have movies coming out, you have merchandise, and I'm just kind of here. And he's like, that's not how you should be looking at your work.
Yeah.
And it was just like kind of, when you have friends sometimes and you compare yourself to success, but I mean, this was just their art, like, and both of them kind of agreed, like, we're doing this together, not trying to compete. And I feel like a lot of friendships do fall apart when stuff like that happens. But yeah, they were super close. And as much as like he was inspired by Miura, like so many other people were inspired by him too.
Oh yeah.
And that sentence, like, I wouldn't have lived without Miura. It's like, that's personal, so personal to him and his friend, but like how many more people in the world can like say that sentence too? Yeah. That's what's so crazy about it.
Yeah, we have set up with one member in particular in our community whose idea it was to kind of who really brought this one shot to our attention, and once it was brought to our attention, suggested that we do this stream. So we have them set up. Hopefully they'll be able to join in on a call a little bit later to talk about what Berserk and Miura's work meant to them. And we want to try to do that with a couple of you guys in here, because I know it was such a impactful story to so many people and to us. And I know we found it or got around to reading it later in the game, but it still meant so much to us, and was one of the greatest manga reading experiences, storytelling experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah,
it was, for me, it also brought like so many people together in a weird way, because I realized once Miura passed and everybody was sharing some of their was just kind of, everybody was kind of in mourning, and everybody was kind of posting their rest in peace Miura, and how much posting about how much the story Berserk and the mangaka himself meant to them. It really made me realize, like, oh my God, like there are so many people that I never knew
were
like
had read this story or were fans of this story.
And people were saying all kinds of things, like people in my own personal life who in a million years I would have never thought that they would have read this story, but they, talked about, how they read it when they were younger and how it was like one of the greatest things that they had ever read, and it made them want to do this and it made them want to do that. And it was just like, as unfortunate as it was, like, because he was a legend on such a huge scale, it really made me realize like how many people he touched, and in a way that brought I think people together. I mean, there was a couple people that I was like, no way. But the way that they describe it, like, you can tell that they're being very sincere and that they did, read this series and that this series was close to their heart. And I was like, damn, I would have never known. But yeah, it was such a crazy experience too when we covered it. We covered it before Miura's passing, and
literally, I think the episode. The first episode, we did a volume 1 of Berserk, and then we were debating on whether or not like continuing it for a volume done, which we did because we all really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the next time we recorded, I think the day before he had passed away.
Yeah, right. So yeah, we released it, and then I think we released it in the day after it was announced because it wasn't public.
Oh yeah.
I think that, which is also like, in a way, I really believe that especially in the United States, we could be a lot better at doing that. Like, let the family mourn, let the people close to them mourn before you make it public.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened in the case of Miura. Like, I don't think it was public information until a lot later. Not a lot later, but just enough time to give the family time to mourn privately. And then it was, it was released that it was a couple like days. I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 days earlier that it had happened. But yeah, this man, I mean, again, when I say, transcend the medium, this man really did transcend the medium. And we got Gareth Tootie says, why are you making me cry in the club right now?
Yeah, I was very emotional reading this too. I was just like, oh, because I mean, I can't even like imagine like, going through something like that on that level, like, and just especially too, like, this is a person that like wrote this amazing story that I connected with so much, that I have characters that like I kin to, like, I just love them so much. And it really did, I mean, usually mangaka, they do have a story and they do interviews, and even like for example, like Fujimoto, like, this is a man, and I feel like people sometimes forget that, especially with everything that happened there. The last chapter of Berserk, everyone's like, well, where's more? When is more coming out? Who's gonna take over? Who's gonna do this? And I was like, you're losing like all of the personal from this man, like, who wrote this thing, who was in charge of this thing. Like, everything is getting taken out once you give it to someone else, because like, this is his like life's work, like, this is him like on a page. And it was just so emotional.
Yeah, it hit me, dude. Like, a lot of sometimes I think that when you are connected to someone and their work, obviously it makes sense that hearing about their passing would hit you. But when you hear about like other celebrities, and even other celebrities or people that I've admired, it hits you on varying degrees. Obviously, you're very, you hurt for their family and you hurt for their loved ones. But because, again, depending on like, how how personal of a connection you felt like you had with these people, it could vary. But Miura's passing like fucking hit me, dude. It hit me so hard because it did feel like I mean, we had just this guy, I have not all of the deluxe Berserk editions, but I want to finish that collection, because if you look at this man's artwork, like, story alone, that's the thing, like, story alone, fantastic. Art, just completely separate from the story. Like, these pieces of art were like breathtaking, like almost as if like again, like I hate to keep repeating myself, but it was like it was transcending the medium. Like this is something that I didn't think was possible in this medium. And there are other, fantastic artists as well who do the same thing. But, Miura's just felt so like special and so different. And
I never
it felt
read
like we really lost
like it.
And again, just like as a world, as a people, we lost we lost the like ever getting to see like more of what this man was going to produce, and again to hear in this one shot, which again I'll show some pages from, and we'll pull it up and we'll show you guys, and it's free online if you just type in like Kentaro Miura Memorial One Shot by Koji Mori, or just that first part, it'll pop up.
Yeah, I think it's called Mori-chan and Ken-chan too,
because that's what that he wants to call the official work when it comes out.
MK.
Yeah, MK for their initials, because it's they're both of their initials are MK. But yeah, and to hear in that one shot that like Miura had an ending for Berserk planned, and said, he told Mori, as soon as it ends, me and my wife and you and your wife, like we're going to retire, and we have a place in mind. We have like one of two places in mind that we're just going to go move to, and we're going to go, live. And it's like, that man fucking deserved that. It's like, it's not even about like, all the stuff that we would have got, as fans if he would have, still been alive. But it's more so about like, him having gotten to complete his work, and him have gotten to like get the rest and to just reap all the benefits of all of his hard work. Like I would have loved for that man to just like kick his feet up for the rest of his life and just live a life of luxury, like he deserved that. So that was really heartbreaking as well. But yeah, if you haven't read it, I mean, again, be prepared. It's pretty rough in terms of like emotionally rough.
Yeah, and it is. I think it's only about like 25 pages or so. So you'll get through it pretty quick, but it is like highly emotional, and it was very sad. There were moments where I just had to like pause and be like, "Oh, my heart is hurting really bad."
Got another dono from C Jiao 1000 Yash. Thank you so much. They say that this is so sweet and wholesome that y'all are doing the stream. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Berserk was a huge part of our channel, and like
it really was. Like when I think about Berserk, I think about doing it here, on this channel, talking with you guys, the community, taking it all in for the first time was so much fun with all of you, and sitting here with Cody and Josh talking about the series that I grew to love so much, and my expectations were just like blown out of the water, and it slowly became one of my favorite reads of like all time. And I understood, it was scary when we first did it. We said this before,
so scared
because we were so terrified of, not only just like the fandom, but also just because it was so highly regarded in the manga community, and we were taking on this Goliath of a story, what we thought. And anything, if you haven't read Berserk already, it is just starting on the first page and going and going to the end. And when we read the last chapter, it was so emotional because it was just not only closing the page on a manga that I loved, and I, was just like loving the whole ride, but also just closing that chapter on like this chapter of my life, which is like, it was very sad.
Yeah, man.
I'm starting to tear up already.
Yeah, man. We want to freaking honor this guy, dude. I mean, like, honor this man, remember him, celebrate, his work and him. And like I said, like, if you can emotionally withstand it, then you should check out this one shot. I'll show you just a couple pages of it really quickly. I know we've been told before that if we show too much, that that we could get in trouble for that. So I'll just show you a couple pages here.
Yeah, and there's a moment towards the end where I think he shows his like workspace.
Oh,
that
my
was also
God,
like
that freaking crushed me.
Yeah, I know.
Because again, you're reading this whole very personal story, this very real thing that happened. You're reading it, and it's in this like manga format, and then at the very end, there's a real picture, a real photograph of Miura's workspace, and
it just made it feel like
a ton of fucking bricks.
So
man.
much.
It hit me so much.
And again, like, you know, you're seeing these manga you're seeing these manga caricatures of Mori and Miura, and then you flash to that real photo of the workspace, and it just makes you like remember and like not forget, like, this is like real life, like this is someone's life.
Yeah. All right, so let me show you guys a little bit of this. Yeah. So, I mean, just really quick, I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to read all of it, but it's just, you know, saying right here, this is the two of them sitting together, working, you know, looking very happy. I would like to thank all of the fans of Miura, as well as all of the readers. I'm a bit sorry for this story of loose memories, as I have already written in this work. The friendship of Miura-kun and I, spanning from our first year of high school to now, lasted for about 40 years. Miura-kun has left us. Times are sad, and these times are tough, to say, to the point that I can't stay on my feet. But for some reason, I don't feel like he left us at all. Maybe it's because we were together so much. I don't understand in the slightest why it is so, but it is an odd feeling. Miura's mother told me, since you were always together, you will always be together like this. And basically, to go on, and again, I don't want to sit here and read all of it, but he basically says that this is him, you know, again, staying true to his word, fulfilling a promise that he made to Miura, and that although this was as he says, a collection of loose memories, that he's going to put everything together, because Miura said that they had some crazy stories. That they had some crazy stories, and Miura was like, you gotta document this. We got to document this. We got to tell these stories, because we got up to some crazy stuff. And, I'm all for getting to know him more, if that is if that is what, he wanted, and he, is okay with, telling those stories. And I would love to read those stories. But this is kind of where they kind of have their epiphany moment. Like, oh, both of our, you have Koji Mori and Kentaro Miura, MK, is both of their initials, so like, yeah, we'll call it MK. It's really sweet. It's really sweet. And again, it's just him, mourning, just really in mourning. And yeah, so check it out if you haven't already. Again, if you're emotionally prepared. We do want to take some calls from people, and we do want to, like I said, celebrate this man's work, this man's life, and if anybody, even if it's just in the chat, if people want to just go off and talk about sort of what either Miura or Berserk meant to them, we'd love to read some of your...
Hear from you guys.
Yes, read some of your messages, read some of your comments, or, have a couple people actually on to take some calls and talk to them. So if you guys want to do that, feel free. And I don't know if is Mr. Stealing Your Waifu, has he reached out to you?
Yeah, let me message him.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and start working on setting that up. But let me go through some of the comments. Yeah, a lot of people run ham, I see, has been asking, where is Cody? Cody's got a YouTube channel. Cody has got a YouTube channel called Chapter 1. We support him. And if you want to support him, then you have a place to go support him. And he would appreciate that. And we would appreciate that. Because
Chapter 1 on YouTube. And I think they have a new episode out with someone else.
Yeah, they got a guest on who's a, really good guy, really smart guy. His name is Duncan Gale, professor. He's a professor. Sweet guy, awesome guy. And I think this man is also published too. I think this man, Duncan Gale, is also published.
That's awesome.
So he's got that cred. He's got that cred to be talking about books. But yeah, go support him and be there for your boy, like we are there for him and Megan's dad too.
Yeah.
So we got Blake. Thank you for the donation. Blake said, Berserk changed my perception of manga. It's the pinnacle of the format, in my opinion. Rest in peace, Miura. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, dude. Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely, 100%. My perception of manga. This is what this medium is capable of. And I appreciate everything that can be done, within the medium. Everything from something like a Miura to the opposite end of that spectrum, whatever that is. I appreciate that anything and everything can exist. But Miura's art, Miura's storytelling, this fantasy, and it wasn't just about the fantasy, but the way he was able to take this sort of dark fantasy and connect me to these characters on an emotional level that made these characters feel real.
Yeah, for sure. And I loved that about Berserk, because it did have these, fantastical elements, and it did have these fights that were insane, and this gore and this darkness to it. But then there was like a light. There was like the Band of the Hawk. There was Casca. There was his other team Shirke, like Puck. Like there was these he had so much fun with Puck, and I just loved that about the story, because it was like a great medium of this like lighthearted story mixed with this dark tragic hero's journey type of story.
Yeah. Let me just I'm popping over just to make sure. So you messaged Mr. Stealing Your Waifu, right? Great name still. What a fantastic name.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he might be at work, so we will see. But Lloyd, like Lloyd said in the chat, if you guys want to hop over to the Discord, you might I could actually spam the link here.
Yeah, we can
for
spam
you
the
guys.
link to the Discord, and if anybody wants to hop in, our wonderful admin Lloyd Forger, the Lloyd Forger. We'll give you that caller role, and you can jump in and we can talk to you. Someone asked, do we like Inui Asano? Of course, I rard my pants. He's talking to @hello. He's talking to this other guy who is going off and saying some shit that I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know. I am not informed on what they are alleging, so I cannot and will not comment on it because I just don't know, and I don't. But Lloyd is Twilight. Yeah, it's the or they said Lloyd is Twite. I like that.
I like that too.
Sounds like they're saying Lloyd is tight. And I like that. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm just trying to see what this person is saying. I don't. What is that? Why are you changing the subject? Yeah. I mean, again, this is a commenter by the name of Hello There, who seems to be saying things that again I'm not informed on, and possibly after this stream I might look into. But again, I don't want to do that now, because again I am celebrating what this work meant to me and what meant to so many people. And again, according to Koji Mori, I mean, this man Miura saved his life, gave his life purpose, and it was a beautiful story told from a close personal childhood friend. Yeah. Vermilion said, dude is out of pocket. Yeah. This dude is being a little out of pocket, and they're baiting me in the chat by saying, Josh, I'm talking about denial.
I just spammed the link to the Discord. Let me know if it works. If you guys wanted to hop in on the live reaction, I think it's called live show reactions. If you just kind of say like maybe a sentence of why you would want to call in, we can go ahead and add a role to you, and then we can take a couple calls. But I think let me just make sure here, vamp for me for just one more moment, Josh.
Yeah, I will.
A couple more questions.
Hello there says, Josh, take a look at these two series, both by Miura. Okay, I will do that, and I will form my own opinions. but I am not informed at the moment and do not want to comment on it at the moment. You've made your point, and like I said, it's just I'm not gonna go farther into it at this moment in time because that's not what I'm here to do right now. But Griffith D. Joestar said, how do you guys feel about some of the Berserk community members gatekeeping Berserk and saying you only like it now since Miura passed away? In my experience, I mean, in our experience, I think, doing these Berserk videos, you know what's crazy is I think we were just a little afraid because this was a epic, you know, again, another Rushmore series. And I think we were both like, oh my God, like, you know, we want to, this was before the unfortunate, you know, passing of Miura. Even before that, we were like, okay, well, we want to give this series the respect it deserves, right? Like we want to come at this series and we want to make sure that we're not just talking about it because it's a popular series. Like we want to be informed, we want to be honest, and we want to come at it just, you know, prepared. And so when we did, in our experience in terms of like gatekeeping, and then the news came out a little after our first episode came out. In our experience, the community, the Berserk community, was very kind. Was very kind. Was very understanding. Was very, was very just sweet. And I'm sure in every community there's going to be gatekeepers. In every community, there's going to be people that say you only like it now because of this. You only like it now because of that. Like, I don't know. I mean, these people. I mean, suck. They suck.
Waifu is in the voice call. So why don't we go ahead and jump on there?
The voice call. Let's go. Let me hop in. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, Josh. Yeah.
Hi.
Let me just make sure everybody can hear you. I think they can. How you doing? How's your day?
Good. I was actually working out in the gym, and they just messaged me out of the blue, and I totally it slipped my mind like what time everything was starting. So I was planning on watching the whole thing, but I guess I missed the whole first half.
No, it's okay. This will be up later too. So.
Yeah, this is gonna be up, but get your shred on, dude. Do your thing.
He's going full guts.
Dude, are you trying to be guts or what?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like, just to kind of give a spiel of like how Berserk and Miura in general have impacted my life. Like, Guts has honestly been a huge role model, and just the idea of striving forward and trying to make better of a bad situation has always been kind of a motivating factor for me. And throwing on whatever, you know, it may be like, you know, the 2016 Berserk OST, which is fantastic. You know, it's like super hardcore, gets you pumping, and you know, it's you know, it gets you going.
Yeah, even Guts' theme. Oh my God, I tear up every time I hear that.
Literally every time. It's like instant tears, tear serum. But yeah, I really did like what you said about, you know, persevering and struggling on, and if you're given, you know, dealt a bad deck of cards, and even if you're dealt a bad deck of cards more than once in your life, how you can use yourself as motivation and use the people around you to continue on. Like, that is something that resonates with me, and I think with a lot of Berserk fans it is so personal, and that's how Miura was able to, you know, touch so many people, because I feel like when we do read manga, we like kind of, you know, read it and we have personal experience with it, yes, but we kind of are able to take ourselves out and be like, oh, this is awesome, superheroes fighting, or, you know, these fantastical powers, and then seeing like Guts and his journey is just like, oh, it just feels so much more.
It was a lot more human.
Yeah, totally. When it was, I mean, he's a monster.
He's a monster.
He's like, you can like, it is very human.
How old were you when you first read it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I had to have been probably like a sophomore in college, maybe 23 or so. And it was just like the first like really intense seinen manga that I think I had ever read. And so it definitely struck a chord with me, the fact that it was that thing that introduced me to this sort of style.
Yeah.
But it just hit me at the right point in my life where, you know, you go to school and sometimes you just have no idea of what you want to do with the future. And there's so many like tumultuous, whatever. There's a lot of turmoil in your life, and
Yeah, yeah.
you need a direction, and that's kind of similarly to how Guts kind of is struggling with finding out what he wants in his life, especially in kind of the golden age arc.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just resonated so much with me that like I was basically like I was talking to my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, you have to read this. Like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever read in my life.
Especially too, like the idea that this character Guts was like so emotionally closed off because of he was closed off because of childhood trauma that he experienced, and then when he finally came around to like letting people in the first time, it obviously didn't end very well for him, resulting in him being closed off again, and over the course of many events, having to relearn to open himself up to people. And that is something that I personally relate to as well. Being able to, it takes strength to do that, to overcome, a lot of these traumatic childhood things, to just not permanently close yourself off from people, to not permanently shut people out, because sometimes it is a struggle to like even let people in sometimes, and for fear of like hurting them, or for this like maybe this like insecurity within yourself that you don't deserve their love or their kindness or whatever. That was a huge thing that I think resonated within Guts, for me too.
I cut you off there.
No, go ahead. No, I was waiting to be cut off.
I was just gonna bring up the fact that I've seen so many people talk about how this has impacted them when they've gone through like a hugely difficult time in their life, like with depression or just any number of things. And that's the interesting thing about like fantasy series, is they can take you kind of away from maybe your personal life and still allow you to examine these really human moments through characters. And even though it's like you in your own life are not the one that's taking on like a dragon or a evil demigod, it's you're still able to examine those feelings, and in a way that can be palatable and still reach the people who like it really needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you get a chance? Obviously you did, because you were the one who put us on to the Memorial one shot.
Yeah.
What were some of your feelings like when you read that?
I gotta say, like the beginning, it kind of feels a little sporadic, and it's almost hard to follow in a way. Like you don't necessarily know who is who at the beginning of the. When you're younger, you're like. But I felt like, especially towards the middle and end, once it starts kind of like getting its feet, and you start hearing like those stories about young Miura and how impactful he was to his friends and how he just motivated everyone in his life.
Yeah.
It like, for someone who's so private, it really humanized him. And like personally, and like I'm sure everyone else feels the same, is like it's hard to get a grasp on this like legendary figure who wrote this story that is so huge. But like just to get a little glimpse into it.
Yeah, get a little glimpse into his life, his personal life, the man behind the work. What was also, I think you cut out for a second.
But sorry, keep going.
No, you were saying you were saying that it felt a little all over the place too, and I agree.
And he apologized at the end. He was like, "Sorry for these like random memories," and that's kind of how it would be if you're writing about someone who you've known for so long, but being like, "Damn, okay, so this happened here." Okay,
well, yeah, he also said that too, and I definitely felt that too. Like I definitely felt it. But what I think it was kind of like interesting about it was he says that when he's there, all these like memories and all these things came rushing to him, and it was hard for him to like, kind of like sort through all of them. And this wasn't even him really doing that. It was him just again saying that he wanted to eventually do that, to sort through all these things and to decide what stories he wanted to dedicate time to and tell. But I definitely got that. And that note too, there was a note when they were going to school, and he said like, just for reference, like I'm the one with like the bowl cut kind of haircut, or the helmet, kind of haircut. But yeah, I struggled in the beginning, like, okay, which one is Miura and which one is Mori. I had a hard time telling the difference. But I loved his art too.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No,
No.
It's the delay or the lag or whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Go ahead.
The just like as it kind of continued and as you got like deeper into the manga, and especially the ending with kind of the tease at a actual serialization of kind of these concepts going forward, it really resonated with me emotionally. And like even when I was rereading it, I started like getting teary. It was just so momentous and so heartwarming in a way that like he would be able to, especially the final page where he talks about how even though Miura's gone and he wants to say goodbye to his friend and like farewell, he can't because Miura's always going to live on with him because they are one and the same. And it was just really poetic,
I was so emotional. He just goes, it's weird not getting a phone call from you every day.
And he said that he made that point where he's like, look, man, I am not trying to take any credit for Berserk. I'm not trying to say that, but he also said like, but we did talk a lot of the story through. We did bounce ideas off of each other, and I do like to think that I helped him sort of like, direct his thoughts or more kind of like, dial them in at times. And that's just like from talking things out sometimes. Just saying things out loud like helps you kind of like figure out the direction that you're trying to go in. But yeah, I like that line too, where he's like, look, do not come at me. And I am not saying that I deserve a co-writing credit on this thing. He's like, but I do like to think that I helped him, and
the vice versa. He goes, I don't think I ever would have been a published mangaka without Miura. Like he's giving him full credit for that. That was interesting and cool, but
you also posted in our Discord, which I thought was really cool. We went back and we kind of looked at it.
Yeah.
But for anybody else out there, there is apparently an artist, a very talented artist, who has kind of gone on to continue the story. Obviously, it's their own interpretation of what the story after that point would be. But just the amount of work that this person and love, you can feel the love and the care that they're putting in. I mean, it's a pretty amazing thing that this person has done.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I only caught it like maybe a month ago when it had gotten to the point where it is right now. And this person has been drawing them over the past like 8 months or so, like 9 months or something, almost since Miura passed.
Wow.
And you can like honestly really tell how much passion and honestly how just talented as an artist this person is. And a lot of what's happening in their like fan manga is like stuff that I could honestly see actually happening. So it's just it's fun, and it gives a little bit of like closure in a way, and just like especially given the cliffhanger that things do end on. It would be great to see how do these things resolve, like how would Guts react, etc.
It was very painful. It was very painful because literally building up to everything for that cliffhanger, and even everything that happened after, just with the relationships that I just wanted to mend so badly and was so hurt that they didn't. And I understand, and it's totally understandable, but it just hurt my heart. I'm like, okay, now we're finally here. Everything's fine, but it's not, of course. And then to see that like fan written, drawn manga of just this reaction of finally having that solidified, like, oh, this is what this is. This is what this has been all along. It just broke me. It hurt my heart so bad. Every time, I just can't. The ending, I can't. With two characters in you know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking, you guys know what I'm talking about.
It was that was incredible. Again, the time, the effort, the care, the love that this person put into making this was so cool to see.
Someone's asking for the link for that. I think I can
I
pull that up. Just give me one moment.
Yeah, I think you posted it in our Discord in the was it in the manga tab? Do you know what tab you posted it in?
Oh, it's in the general. I found it.
For me, I posted it in the general.
In the general.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and spam it in the chat here. It's on Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, I posted
there
a
you
thread,
go.
so it like just each of the comments that are attached to it should be the next panel as it goes down.
Cool.
Yeah.
I found it.
There was one thing I wanted to note. I didn't actually see the first chunk of this review for the Memorial manga, so I don't know if y'all talked about this, but did you notice anything particular with the friends that Miura and Mori like had? There was a panel where they said like, hey, they started like going together privately, and then eventually some friends would come and some friends would go. So did y'all notice anything, interesting about those friends that they showed in one panel?
No, but I do know what you're talking about because exactly like you said. He's like, from what I remember and understand, he said that they stopped wanting to make manga and they went off to do other things, but I didn't notice anything in particular.
Well, if you go back, and I don't know if you can actually pull up that panel.
I have it up. I have it up. I'll kind of go. I'll look for it right now.
Yeah, because there's definitely something that stands out.
Interesting.
I listened to an interview with Miura previously, so I was aware of this fact or little tidbit previously. So I think that might have keyed me in onto a little hidden gem that he added in that panel.
Okay.
Oh, right there. Go back.
It's right here.
Go back that way.
This way.
This way. That way.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not.
Right there.
Well. Okay.
I think
wait,
Mehgan knows.
Is that Corcus?
Hold on. No, wait.
No, I'm just kidding.
Look at those characters. I think there's Judo, Corcus.
I'm gonna pull it.
Yes.
It looks like Corcus.
I was like, that's Corcus for sure.
Hold on. Let me pull this up for everybody so everybody can see. Hold on.
Miura based the Band of the Hawk after his own friends.
What? Oh my God.
At least a lot of key characters.
Okay, let me move this down.
My heart hurts.
So yes, these people here are from in this memorial one shot. These are their real life friends who they say they had and they were working on manga together that eventually left. And then even here you could say, and then even when those friends left, and for him to have based these real people, or the Band of the Hawk off these real people, makes everything so much more heartbreaking. Makes everything.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Because
So,
even when Mehgan said like, "Is that Corcus?" I was like, I don't know. I mean, don't be disrespectful, Mehgan. Come on. But it is, and that's crazy.
Yeah, think about like finding out that your friend made a great manga, and then like you are the character based off of Corcus, or you're the person who's based Corcus off of.
What an honor, dude. What an honor.
What an honor.
Absolutely. In that same interview that I read, he mentioned that like he didn't necessarily base exactly everything off of his friends, but he modeled generally and took things from each of them. And even Griffith is a friend that was in their friend group who decided to, I guess, like exit the manga industry or just like drawing in general, and kind of became this like a businessman, or tried to do like bigger things with his life, and kind of like, I guess, became that snooty, arrogant friend who doesn't want to hang out with his old crew anymore.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes a good story, dude. I mean, when you can really like pull from real life experiences and real relationships that you have, of course, you're going to, depending on what kind of story you're trying to tell, you're going to change things and make it fit within the world that you're telling this story. But that's the best. And that's what I loved about Berserk across the board, is that emotionally, no matter how fantastical the world got, that emotionally it always felt so real. Like he was writing from experience. He was writing emotions that he was very familiar with,
Yeah, you could tell it was a story like near and dear to his own heart, and it definitely comes across. It's very emotional, and it has those really humanizing moments that personally, those are my favorite parts of Berserk. And I think that's why my personal favorite part is the Golden Age, is because it's basically like there are a lot of like warring faction, like, oh, we're gonna overthrow this kingdom, but there's so much more just like interpersonal dialogue between the core cast of like Griffith, Guts, Casca, and to me that's like the part of Berserk that I fell in love with.
Yeah, definitely.
Damn. Great find, dude.
Yeah,
someone else said that in the chat too, like, great find. Wow. I can't believe I missed that. We missed
broke
that.
our heart again.
I had too many tears in my freaking eyes when I was reading this thing. I couldn't see.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh man.
Well, thank you for calling in, man. We don't want to take too much of your time.
Thank you so much.
But thank you for putting us on. Thank you for sharing, your, what the story meant to you, what Miura meant to you, and putting us onto that little Easter egg too.
Yeah, thank you so much, and honestly, thank you for everything that you guys do. Y'all are my favorite podcast by far. Honestly, favorite YouTube channel. So
thank you.
I just I wish the best for you guys, and I hope it goes well, and don't have too many break-ins or
yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it will not happen again. But thank you
Gotta
so
go
much.
check on that car window after the stream right now.
I know.
But yeah, man, thank you for saying that. That means so much, dude.
Yeah.
That means so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I wish you the freaking best too, dude, in everything that you do. You are a light in our community. Every time you you're so super active in our Discord and just and again, I've said it on episodes, but now I get to say it, directly to you. It's I value so much your opinion and the reviews that you even do in the Discord and the things that you talk about and the way that you articulate them. I always kind of, in a lot of ways, when you give your thoughts on a series, or when sometimes when I give my thoughts on a series, I'm in my head, I'm like, Mr. Stealing Your Wife is going to come after me for that one, dude. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be very happy with that, dude. Because, I feel like from what you've posted and the things that you've said, you have also a great grasp on storytelling and just your thoughts on the medium in general. I do value and I do appreciate, and I love you, man. I love you, dude.
Thanks for the compliments, but everyone can be a critic. It takes a lot more to actually make something, and
for sure.
And especially to put your opinion out there and have your face, like what you guys do, where you have to actively look at comments and not ignore responses.
Yeah.
And then show your face the next day.
Yeah.
It takes so much more effort and to just go through that. And I know I don't have half of that you guys do. So.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, man, and I appreciate
your time and your thoughts and putting us on to this amazing memorial one shot. And we are just so happy to have gone through this journey with you. And,
yeah, man, for real.
Hopefully many journeys to come.
Yeah, dude, and I know you just got done working out, but if you want to go back in, do a couple more reps, get that body right, get that mind right.
Yeah.
I support that too.
I'm gonna do a few extra reps for you, Josh.
Oh,
please, dude, I need it. I've been freaking putting on weight, dude. I gotta get a membership too. I gotta go with you to the gym. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, love you guys.
Love you too, man.
Too. Bye.
Bye. Fantastic. I fucking love that man.
For real.
Yeah, what a great guy. Again, pillar in our community. So if you haven't joined our Discord or, aren't active, in the comic section, I mean, you can see Mr. Stealing Your Waifu everywhere. He's a man that deserves respect.
Yes.
And he's been a part of our community for a while, and he's a familiar face that, and like we said, we always love seeing familiar faces.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else? Would anybody else?
Yeah, we have another caller in, Boba.
Okay.
Boba would like to talk about Berserk, Kentaro Miura, and the medium of manga and anime as a whole.
Okay, Boba. We'll see. Oh, Boba's already in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shooty. Let's see if we can pop in. Hello, Boba? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Josh.
Oh, damn, you sound like you got a good mic, dude. You sound like you're in a studio right now.
Yeah, actually, I'm a musician, so I do have some good mics with me. So.
Ooh.
You're soothing my ears right now.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
I love Mr. Stealing Your Waifu. I love him. He has my heart. I just told him that.
I like the birdie.
Yeah,
I love the ambiance. Yeah, it was really adding to the whole memorial. He was really selling it. I was getting emotional. I was like, damn, he's in the wilderness right now.
Yeah,
he's in the world of Berserk right now. But you come in here ASMR. You got ASMR. You're like, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Josh is blushing. You're making Josh blush. But hello, how are you today?
I'm doing really great today, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. I've been a fan of Volume 1 probably for about a year now, I want to say, just because, it's the anniversary of Kentaro Miura's passing, and I think it was around that time that I actually found you guys when I was getting more into manga. Yeah. So, I, like a few other people, I actually got into Berserk after I heard the news about Kentaro Miura. And, you
Mm.
know, I don't say that proudly, but I will say this. I just kind of have this complex about, sometimes you get disappointed with anime or manga because maybe this anime doesn't follow the manga all the way through, or maybe they make
Yeah.
changes. And, you just want to see that a project is finished and, thoroughly done well before you get into it sometimes. And that's how I felt. And, when I heard the news about
Mm.
Kentaro Miura, I knew like this is kind of where it's going to end. So, you know, I might as well get into it now, right?
Yeah, 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 for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I've been a fan of anime my whole life. I probably started, who knows, Voltron, Digimon, Pokemon, all those
Yes,
kid
Mhm.
let's
shows.
go.
Yeah, dude.
Yes,
Beatemon, Bakuman, Beyblade, like the works, all those kid
yes.
shows.
Zatch Bell.
Yeah,
Zatch
Zatch
Bell,
Bell.
a little bit. I don't think I
Yeah,
really followed it all the way through. I don't remember a lot of the story, but that's a good one.
yeah. It was one of those Toonami sleepers, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's like not in order at all. It's like if it's
Yeah,
just on, you're like, oh, this is cool. I know nothing about what's
yeah.
happening, but
Yeah. And I think I like Josh, if I remember right. I think that Josh, you said that one of your first manga that you read was Naruto, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Same here. I couldn't stop
Yes.
that story. I needed to see what was going to happen next. And, like yourself, I probably, I was tired of hearing people telling me things about the story that I'm like, how did you even know that? Where did you get this information? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So like that's probably back in, I want to say maybe 2010, years and years ago. I'm 27 now, and
Young
I've
King.
I've yeah, I haven't read a lot of manga. You guys are way more versed in manga than I am, but I will say like for that reason, I am so spoiled to have, come into Berserk as someone who's not a
Yeah.
big manga fan. I
mhm.
mean, this is some of the best art that you're ever going to see, and I know that you guys
Ooh,
were talking
yes.
about that earlier. Like, I mean, Kentaro Miura is someone who he's a revolutionary, he's a renaissance man, he's everything like you can think of. But more so than anything, I mean, he's he's a normal guy. He's a
Mhm.
guy who wanted his art to be great. He was a perfectionist.
Yeah.
He doubted himself.
Yes.
He didn't see himself necessarily the way that everybody else saw him.
Mhm.
And that's what kind of, gave him a foundation to grow and become better. And, you know, I will say that like I heard so much about Berserk before I got into it, and I thought, this is ridiculous to wait so long between chapters
Yeah.
and to have release dates like spread out so far apart. But it's because he was a normal man who wanted the story to be great.
Mhm.
It wasn't about him. It was about the story. It was about connecting with the audience, and like you guys have talked about it so much, it connected with so many people. There's
Mhm.
so many things. And you know what, like manga is a medium where you can create an entire new world, you can create an entire new universe. But he created a character, Guts, who
Hmm.
probably he alone is just as interesting as the world that Kentaro Miura
Oh, for
created.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he means just as, I mean, I think that some of us care more about Guts than we do about discovering the world that he lives in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So yeah.
that's what's amazing about the way that Mira tells that story
Mhm.
is it's like, yeah, the world is amazing and incredible. And I've said before, like, I love the magic system and how everything works. But again, like, I more so care about Guts
Guts's journey.
and Guts' journey.
Yeah,
And
what he's going to continue to do. I mean, like his overall like mental and physical health. You're like worried about this man. Like, damn, like one more fight, I think
yeah,
it's gonna be the
and
last,
when
but
he
it never
does-
is.
And when he does something, I'm like, come on, man. Like, I feel so invested
Yeah.
in his choices, the choices that he makes. But I get that too. I get that feeling that you're like, it's a behemoth of a series. We said that before too, and it's something that I think a lot of people hold in high regard, as they should. But if you're on the outside of that and you haven't experienced it, I understand wanting to wait till it's like finished, because again, we were fortunate in the way that at least. I feel bad for people in the comments who kind of comment sometimes like, yeah, you guys had no idea what it was like being on that boat with the chapters and the way they were coming out. Again, you're absolutely right. He is a human being, and deserves to take his time to tell this story. But I know that as a fan, there are of course so many people who are like, yeah, I mean, I could have raised a kid in that in that hiatus.
Not even wrong. That's true. You could raise a kid, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like 20 years. Like, I don't even know.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
something
it was
crazy.
I don't know exactly, but it was a long time.
Mhm.
But that's the thing. I mean, with it's I know they have assistants and all these, but it's one man, and,
Exactly.
And other people have said too that when Miura discovered digital art, that they thought his editor hoped that it would mean that he could churn some of these things out faster, but it just gave him the chance to be even more meticulous
and add more detail
and zoom in really
add 5 more hours on one splash page. But I mean, that's I would much rather have someone who actually cares about the product and the art that they're producing than someone who is just pumping out these manga volumes or anime because they need to get that instant if they don't stop, then they're not going to be like relevant, or the manga publishers are pushing them. Like, I would just so much rather have someone who is taking breaks and is releasing the product of.
That's what I respect so much about Fujimoto. I mean, everybody is like, where is Chainsaw Man Part 2? And he's like, I don't know, but here's Goodbye Eri. I don't know, here's Look Back, because these are what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to work on. And I got so much respect for that. And I think that for the product that Miura, put out, well worth the wait. I mean, well worth it.
Yeah.
Especially.
I totally agree with you guys.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to Chainsaw Man yet. You guys have totally encouraged me to read it. I'm just on Bakuman right now. I'm gonna get to it it's probably gonna be the next thing that I read, right?
Yeah, we gotta get on Bakuman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go back and then I'm gonna watch the episode where you guys talk about Chainsaw Man. If there's multiple episodes, catch up, and I'll be right there with you guys. But yeah,
yes.
And I have to be a little controversial, and I have to say, like, when it comes to the world of Western lore, I must say I'm often not really a fan, personally.
Sure, yeah.
It's so in America we have things like Lord of the Rings, or I think the closest I've ever gotten is Harry Potter. Like, I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and if that's
that was my shit, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Greek mythology, anything related to that. But when it comes to like the goblins and the dragons and the knights and things like that, I'm really super interested in it because I don't know if a lot of the stories are put together as well as I would like them to be. And then I find Berserk, I'm like, oh, I'm going into it. It's kind of like, when a New Yorker tries pizza in another state, they're like, like, what's this going to be? Another, waste of my time. And, I am astonished by, how great Berserk was. I completed the whole thing, 364 chapters. I have not gotten to the memorial manga yet, but I will just say that on that story, the elements were put together so well. And I love the fact that at the end of the day, Guts is a normal person. Not only a normal person, but, he is, some might even call him disabled because he's an amputee. He lost, everything that he lost. And I mean, beyond
he perseveres.
Yeah.
He perseveres, yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's not easy. It's a struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like special people in that world, and you get to see, like witches and, the mermaids and all of like these goblins and everything like that. But it's beautiful to me because, I mean, imagine like you think that you don't like a certain genre of music, and then your friend shows you this one song and you're like, wow, I never thought I could like that.
Yeah.
Same boat. I was in the exact same boat. I remember going into Berserk, I was kind of not even just my general thoughts was, I'm not like the biggest fan of fantasy manga, like you said, like dragons, knights, goblins. I mean, I feel like I've just seen it so many times before, and I just kind of got uninterested, and it wasn't something I gravitated to when I was trying to watch a series or read something. So when I was reading Berserk and I was so invested in this character, I completely just fell in love with everything. Puck, I mean, all of the characters, the cast of characters, the magic, I mean, all of it. I was so excited for the first time about this thing that I thought that I didn't like.
Yeah, and you said it too. Like, I think what happens with fantasy a lot of the time, because I did, I've always kind of had an affinity for those types of stories, but I completely understand, and I think that what happens with like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and things like that is a lot of the time like those kind of stories feel like they get bogged down by lore and history between the races and all these types of creatures, and it's more about the families and the lineage and the all these things. And even, and I've gotten a little bit of shit myself for this, but even within Berserk, like I found it far more interesting when we got to spend time with the characters than I did some of these more long, drawn out like war scenes, which were very beautiful, visually like amazing. But it was always when we, spent time with the characters that I felt like I was enjoying it the most,
Yeah, and so now, not only is there Guts, there's Mikasa, and wait, I'm sorry, is that her name?
Yeah, no, Mikasa, AOT. You got AOT
I was like,
on the mind.
yeah. I was like, dang, that would be a crazy crossover.
That was a slip. I know. You got some Mikasa posters hanging out somewhere, dude. You just slipped right now.
Dude, I totally just slipped. But
no, it's all good.
But yeah, dude, like I love the war part of it, like I'm a big fan of war stories, and the fact that it started out that way, that was so cool, because it's almost like the training arc of Guts, right? And then you see him going from that to being, and I'm not trying to be too spoilery with anything, but you see him like eventually he ends up being alone. And I think that most of us understand that, like, sometimes you're a part of a collective, sometimes you're a part of a union, a relationship, whatever it may be, and then you have to spend some time by yourself and you have to build up on your own. And like each element of that, I mean, it's so scary for him, especially knowing that like there's still something grounding him to earth that he wants to protect, and we all know what that is. And like, but again, we're mostly speaking about Kentaro Miura, and this guy, I mean, he definitely changed the way that I saw Western lore. I mean, I'll never look down on it again. It can be done right. It can be done correctly. And his art is some of the best art I've ever seen. I mean, art that each page of that manga should be an NFT worth, a fortune, It's the guy, I think that, we all want to believe that maybe there's another Kentaro Miura out there. Maybe there's someone else.
Well, he definitely inspired, I feel like.
So many.
Yeah. He inspired so many people, and there will be so many stories told that would not have ever been told if it wouldn't have been for him. I feel like
Lloyd said we got so many well-spoken listeners. Shooty, I totally agree. We like. I mean, just speaking with you now, it's just so much fun, and you are so well-spoken, and
oh, thank you.
It's awesome. I just wanted to say that before we continue the conversation, because that was a really funny comment. But yeah, totally. I mean,
he definitely inspired the next, Kentaro Miura, if you will. I mean,
there will never be another one, but definitely more genius. The genius will flow.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I can't wait to see the stories that are told. I mean, we might never know. People, can be inspired by things, and sometimes they speak about it, or you get a sense for it. And sometimes, like Miura himself, like people told us all the time when we were covering Berserk that, Miura was like a huge Star Wars fan, and he was inspired by Star Wars. And that was, that's why. And there was another, I saw in like a subreddit, there was like, I think it was like an old movie or an old play or something, but it was basically where Miura got the inspiration for Griffith's like femto helmet. You're right. And this man was definitely, and I think that's what it is part of the process of making great art is that inspiration and not being afraid to pull from the things that inspire you. As there's that kind of quote that everybody talks about. It's like what is it? Good artists. It's good artists. I'm so bad. I don't know why.
You always start with there's a quote, and then you just don't say the quote properly or correctly, and then someone in the comments like ends up saying it for you.
But it's like good artists something and great artists steal, but steal is like a dramatic word. It's like a way to just say that like you know, we all pull from.
Good artists produce.
Well, it's I literally think it is like, you know, great artists steal, but it's just a way. It's like they're being like a little hyperbolic, I guess.
Steal is just like inspiration.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. Like they borrow. It's like a collective of like all the things that inspire you and have inspired you, and your kind of spin on them put together kind of makes this new thing.
Good artists take, great artists steal.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Huda,
guys.
for life, Chris.
Thank you.
There you go.
But yeah.
You know, I wasn't going to mention this, but since you mentioned Star Wars, I have to say, okay, I am a writer myself. I do work
hell
on
yeah.
stories, poetry, and I was really into music mostly before the quarantine. And you know, George Lucas was my favorite writer. I literally did a report on him in school. And I must say that,
Wow.
you know, when the new movies were announced, you know, I kind of just things kind of changed in my mind, honestly. You know, I hear that the new movies are announced and I'm so excited. And then I realized that, you know, George Lucas sold this company to Disney, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's, you know, trying to fund the project. And then I realized like he's not working on the project, and then they own all the rights. And, you know, people may have different feelings about that, but I must say that like I wasn't devastated. I just became very apathetic to everything going on. And since then, in like the last 6 or 5 years, I don't know, man. Like I have not really been invested in Hollywood at all. I have not
For
seen
sure,
Game of
yeah.
Thrones. I have not seen these Netflix series, these, you know, what you may call it. You know, I've only seen maybe Black Mirror and like Cobra Kai because of friends showing it to me and me seeing it with them. But like I'm just not invested. I love anime. I actually love podcasts as well, which is why, you know,
Yeah.
this is the perfect crossover.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not invested anymore. And remember what I said before about, you know, sometimes I'm not even going to start an anime or a manga because I want to see it done thoroughly. I want to see that, you know, the project, you know, follows the story, that it's done beginning to end. And, you know, some of these stories, like for instance, Attack on Titan, they're so good. I can't resist,
Yeah,
you know, I
you
have to get
can't,
into
yeah.
it. But, you know, Kentaro Miura, he showed me that like maybe it's worth investing your time into something that you don't know how it's going to pan out. And I was really against that for a long time. I was really closed in, you know. And again, this is another instance of where he changed my perspective. And I still don't feel great about the medium of Hollywood and all of these whether you want to talk about, honestly, whether you want to talk about Hollywood movies, music, sports, I see like a lot of decline in quality in a lot of different mediums, but anime always gives me hope, and I'm so excited to see what comes next. And you know, and hey, I mean, there's a lot of people who found that a lot of the Berserk adaptations were controversial because
Yeah.
maybe they weren't the best of quality, you know? I don't know anything about that. I never watched them because if I hear that, you know, something's not going to be great, I don't get invested, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
don't
protecting myself.
tarnish the legacy of the beautiful story told on the pages.
I do love the 1997. I think that was definitely. I mean, the movies too were really good. But yeah, the 2016 is just a different breed of 3D anime. Like they were really trying something, and they thought it might have been the best they could
I don't know what
do.
they.
But
I'd like to think that they had some sort of logic, but you know, it's hard to give them that.
yeah, Hollywood. It just feels like most of the things that are being made as of the last, I don't know, 11, 12 years, even maybe later down. There's just like no heart. And when I read manga, when I watch
Thank you,
anime,
Mehgan.
I could tell how much heart goes into these stories, and that is important. And I don't think that people in Hollywood kind of understand that. They think that people just want to take in media and just like veg out and just be like, oh, this is a cool movie. It's like, no, like we want to like feel something. We want to know these characters. And when that's why for me personally too, like you said, I gravitate more towards anime and manga. Even as, you know, a child, I was like, oh, this is interesting.
These are different types of stories. that are being
Exactly.
told.
Everything in Hollywood is just regurgitated. Oh, let's do another Jurassic Park. Let's do
do
a
Thank
movie
you,
that another Halloween movie because we know that people will buy tickets. It's like no, like it's just too much.
That's why I'll say this. And it's a little tangent, little side note. But we recently watched that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, And I haven't, again, like I suffered from a little Marvel fatigue, all these like franchises just constantly rebooting things, constantly, like Mehgan said, regurgitating things. But everything, everywhere, all at once. If you're looking for a newer movie that's actually good and it actually has some fucking heart, like I walked out of that theater like affected. I was like, I couldn't even fucking like think for like hours after that movie. And I was like, that might have been one of the greatest movies I've seen in like years.
No,
like,
years. A decade. Like literally a decade. It's crazy.
It was crazy. But that was just a little tangent, a little side note.
No, I'm so glad that you guys have these tangents, and like if you guys want to explore that more in your podcast and things like that, like I love it all, because that perspective is important. Like I think that a lot of people who have yet to jump into anime or the manga realm, they just don't understand how different these stories are. And I must say that, like, look at Berserk. There's so many things in Berserk that are very controversial that, like, you can't just put on TV. You can't just put on any network, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, you have to allow art to breathe. You have to allow art to grow as it will. It's like water your flower and let it be. Don't try to control it too much.
It feels like books and manga are like kind of the last bastion for like being
expression
for like being able to tell the story exactly how you want to tell it. And when you start getting into movies or TV, there's
just so many other people involved,
and it
like, gets convoluted,
we can't say that,
and watered down.
Studios
don't want this, this type of story to be on there. Like
we don't want to we don't want to take a stance this way or that way. We want to stay in the middle so that we can just keep, appeasing everybody.
But when you have a mangaka that's able to just say whatever they want because they're the one who has all the power in their hands. I mean, there's editors and assistants, sure, but I mean, if they're gonna write a story, they're gonna write a story, and it's going to be them, and it's going to be them on a page, and that's why I love manga so much.
Yes, preach. Yes.
So, and by the way, guys, like whether it be, I don't know about Zatchbell, but like a lot of those anime that I mentioned, they never ended. I mean, look at even Naruto, falling into Boruto. And like, a lot of these shows, they keep coming back because, it's not necessarily about the story. It's about the franchise. It's about the video games and the card games and, the apparel and the merch and like things like that. And that's fine. But it's like what Mehgan said, like, what about the hearts? Like, what about telling a new story where, it's interesting? And I will even say that about even live action adaptations, right? Like, I don't need to rewatch the same story done by people, like tell me a new story. Like what if for instance, again, being controversial, but like what if the Cowboy Bebop live action adaptation, what if it gave us a little bit of a backstory on Spike Spiegel? What if it gave us a little bit of like, another perspective on a character who we know from Cowboy Bebop, but things that we didn't see about them, telling us. And that's why I always say that. Yeah.
I think, the only thing dangerous about that is like, not that I wouldn't be open to it, but I think it's when like it's like who's doing it, right? Because again, if that story is going to be told, then I would like for the creator of Cowboy Bebop to tell that story and for it to be adapted. Maybe it's not adapted into a manga, but I would like for them to tell that story specifically with the intent of it being maybe adapted into live action instead of somebody else, or in the case of what happens a lot of times where, the author gives a person permission to say, like, you know what, I trust you. You get my story. You get my vision. I trust you. But a lot of times it's people, because when that does happen, I feel it's from a lot of people who don't feel like they really understand the story. They really don't understand the characters. And that's because I think too, like a lot of people connect to different things with characters, or maybe, in the case of, let's use Guts, who is a very complex character, I might connect to the emotional side of him, and so might you guys, but there might be someone who's like, they might connect to like the badassness of him and really dial that up. So if it was the creator's vision, or if it was at the creator's request, but what I feel like is sometimes a little disrespectful is when people take from other people's pre-existing stories and characters and worlds and don't seem to show it much respect. It's like, if you were gonna do that, then you should have just wrote your own damn story, dude,
for real, and
told, like you were saying, like wrote just a new story that takes place, that's a Western space story, and just you should have done and called it something else. But I do get the sentiment for sure of what you're saying, like this regurgitation, this constant, just like you're showing me the same things like over and over and over and over. Like, give me some new shit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, I mean, maybe, you know, being maybe doing a live action of Cowboy Bebop that does encourage, you know, the sale of some kind of merch, whether it be toys or this, that, and the other, right? It works out for them anyways. They don't need the heart. It's just gonna work for them. And
Exactly.
when you look at Kentaro Miura, I don't think he really got super invested in the adaptations, in the anime adaptations. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he got super invested. He definitely didn't get invested in things like making a card game or getting into video
Right.
games and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And look at, like, you know, I think one of the biggest card games like in the world and to come out of anime is like Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, that story was not even a card game story. It was a completely
Oh, yeah.
different story when it started. It was about like this guy who, you know, had some kind of ancient spirit and he was somewhat of like a kind of good guy, bad guy. But yeah, like, and
Yeah,
I
it
say
changed the
all that-
course of yeah. They
Yeah,
were
it
like,
really
They were like
did.
card game. It changed the course
The
of
card
the
game
whole.
like started doing really well. They're like, let's just make it this. And then
Yeah.
they're like, we'll make a cool, deck holder that they can wear, and then they can put down the cards, and then the people can buy that and then play with that. And it was just like a pitch meeting of like, how can we make more money off of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is a force to be
It
reckoned
was a
with.
force.
It was a force.
It was like, yeah, it's like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. But I
For
mean,
sure.
Pokemon, it's not like they were like playing the card game.
Yeah, they weren't playing the card
Yeah,
game.
they didn't
in
like
Pokemon.
implement the card game in Pokemon. Like Yu-Gi-Oh were like full throttle in.
Yeah, I remember too in early Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think even when they did start doing more of the like card game stuff, there were like, and I think even Monkey D. Luffy is commenting on it right now. He said they didn't even show the card game rules the right way. Yeah, even when they did start implementing the card stuff, they didn't have like the actual rules, so they were just like making shit up, and it was just like, okay, all right, I guess, like, you know, that was all over the place, but yeah,
The heart is important, and it's
the heart of the cards is important.
the heart.
Guys, you see, this is why I love the show, because I get like these little tidbits. Like, I wasn't super into the Pokemon game. Actually, honestly, it's probably the first show I ever dropped. Because when I realized they were just going to keep on making new Pokemon, I was like, whatever. I was like a 5-year-old or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a 5-year-old.
Like,
This
yeah,
is
like,
this
I
is
don't know
this
about
is
that.
too much.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know about those types of things. And I always hear about that stuff from your show. So, like, that's why it's so awesome to be here. But,
I appreciate
you know,
it.
we know that Kentaro Miura, he is a legend. He's great. And I
Yes.
just want to say, you know, like, if anyone, Josh, Megan, anybody out there who is like sad on his passing, we're all in this together. And, like, you know, he left us with a legacy. So, like, we can't
Mhm.
forget that. Like, we still have a piece of him, and, like, you know, he's not truly gone in that way, right? I
Mhm.
think that the most important thing that, like, to me though, is that we remember that, like, Kentaro Miura was given freedom in his art. He was given the freedom
Exactly.
to do what he wanted to do and given the space to grow. And not only that, it's like, as I said before, like, he focused so heavily on his art. He focused on every detail of every panel. He was so dedicated to his story. He was not worried about live action adaptations or all these other things that can be associated with it. He wanted to make a really great story. And you
Yeah.
see that from his peers, people who talk about him. He was so dedicated, and that's what's important for anybody out there who's an artist. Like, you have to remember that type of thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for calling in, man. Thank you for talking to
Thank
us.
you so much. Did you want to like maybe
Yeah,
plug some of your music?
I want to hear your music, dude. I want to check it out.
Dude,
Do you have like a
everybody
handle,
wants to.
social media, or anything you can
Mhm.
plug?
Honestly, guys, I don't have anything to plug. I want us to, you know, focus on Kentaro Miura, and it's not like I even really
Respect
have.
it.
I've been in like
Respect that.
hip hop collectives. I've done beats. I've done live performances. I've done this, that, and the other. I don't really have personal music and stuff, you know. But
Mm.
like, you know, if anything, follow Volume 1 on every platform.
Dang.
Like, I want you guys. See, when I see things like this, right?
Aw.
Like, you guys have so much heart. You guys put so much dedication to what you do. You're here every week. You do like the live shows as well. Like, I want you, when I become a fan of people like yourselves, I want to see you eventually one day on a stage, on a live panel, talking to people about like all of these different stories, this whole medium and stuff. I want you guys to be like the main reporter on like a TV show about anime and stuff like that. Like, I want to see like you guys like go as far as you can with whatever it is that you're doing, with whatever it is that your creative vision is. And like that's, I've been a patron in the past, and like I just want
Oh
to see like
man.
your guys' direction, because
I appreciate
you know
that, man.
like
Wow.
it like that's like the whole point of like everything that I'm trying to say is like the heart matters. Like people listen to the show because they see the heart in it, and it's like that's what we want. That's like that's all that matters. Forget about
Damn.
anything if the quality is, goes down or whatever. Like we want to see the heart.
Damn. Holy shit,
Oh,
man. Well,
man.
I really,
Boba, you made me tear up over
dude,
here.
I really,
Jesus.
really, really appreciate that, man.
Ah.
For real, honestly and genuinely, that means a lot.
The world.
But we got to
Yeah.
get you back on again. We got to talk to you some more.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
And people have been, since Megan decided to reveal to the world that I in my free time like to dabble in making some music and stuff from time to time.
I was like, what?
We gotta maybe reach out
Yeah,
and do a little
collab.
Do a little
Collab.
Empty
for
Josh,
sure.
Empty guts.
See, guys.
Dude, keep me in your thoughts, man. I'll be around
Yeah.
for you, man.
Oh,
For sure, man.
thank you
It was
so
great
much.
talking to you, dude. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.
And thanks for calling in again and talking to us.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You too, man. Wow.
I mean, every time
Dude,
my
I
heart
mean-
is like, oh, everyone in our community is fucking baller
Bro,
and fucking awesome.
They're all Chads.
They're
okay?
all Chads.
They're
All of them.
Chads.
All of them. Like literally all of them. It's insane.
We gotta find a way to get this.
It's
man.
insane.
I know he said it's not really like his music or that he makes it or produces or that he doesn't have a plate, but we gotta find out a way to like put this man on. People want to see what this
For
man's
real.
cooking up.
Yeah, we could do, like you said, collab. Maybe for
Yeah.
that little project we were talking about. But yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I think Will actually wanted to join too.
Will is the GOAT as well,
Mhm.
another GOAT. So we got to talk to Will.
I think he's already a caller. He's already scheduled to be a caller. So if you're listening to this, Will.
And while we're waiting on Will, we'll direct our attention to the chat for a little bit to see kind of what you guys have been saying. And then Will might end up being, one of the last callers, but let's go and let's see. Because I saw someone recommending something, and I wanted to. It was like I think homunculus. It was like
homunculus. Yeah, I think we got a couple of recommendations for that.
Yeah,
in the
so
chat.
I gotta check that out. Who Dat for Life Chris says, is gatekeeping in y'all's opinion needed or not in this anime manga medium? The question is, especially directed towards your opinion, Josh, is gatekeeping needed? I mean, okay. I don't think gatekeeping is needed ever. I don't think it's ever needed.
Will's in the. Okay, finish this. Finish your
Okay.
thought.
I mean, I can't lie though and say that there aren't times where like we're human beings. Like I can't lie and say that there aren't times that you might see something become trendy or become like a hot topic that is talked about because it's something that everybody's talking about. And I can't lie, like that is not a good feeling when people are taking something that you care about so much and just seeming to like be whatever, like cashing in on it or whatever. It's not a good feeling. But I think the only problem with gatekeeping is it's just dangerous. It's just dangerous. It's like when you start gatekeeping, where do you stop gatekeeping? And it gets. So I don't think it's necessary. But there are of course going to be times and situations where things kind of suck. But ultimately, like the thing that you love is being exposed to more people. Maybe people are being like less genuine about it or cashing in, but hopefully they expose people who wouldn't have otherwise been exposed to it.
Exactly. And they appreciate it just as much as you do. You have to realize that too. Like, because you love this thing, I mean, you love it so much and you want to show people what the potential is of the story is. Like, why wouldn't you want to share that with others? Why wouldn't you want to give that feeling that you felt when you were reading it or watching it or loving it so much to someone else who could feel the same things?
Yeah, but I do understand, just that feeling of like, seeing things that you love and care about feel like they're being like not given the respect that they deserve or not being like shared by people who actually have a genuine connection with them. Like that sucks. But yeah, it's just a dangerous thing, I feel like. Okay, Will, my arch nemesis. Just kidding. I love Will. I love Will. Will's a great guy. Let's hop in and talk to Will. Oh, Will.
Hello. It's me.
Hey, man. How are you?
Good, yourself?
Pretty good, man. How are you, Megan?
I'm good. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I'm good.
All right.
Are you sure?
Okay. All right.
What's up, Will? You want to share some thoughts on Berserk, Miura? Hit us with
Yeah.
what you got.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Uh, so I just want to say, first of all, R.I.P. Miura.
Yes.
1 year. It's really hard to believe. I actually, so I like Boba, I started reading it after I heard about his passing, and I actually heard it from a friend who had been trying to get me into reading it for a while. I didn't for a long time, not because I didn't want to. I just kind of like was reading some other stuff and never really got around to it. And then I got the message from that friend saying the author of Berserk passed away, and that's kind of like, I thought it was unfortunate, obviously, and then I was like, I got curious to see. I don't know if that sounds bad or not.
No,
Yeah, but I was like, okay, maybe I'll check it out. It's very well received by people, and you know, my friend loves it. And my friend was like, she didn't even need to do this. So I was like, okay, if you read Berserk, I'll read JoJo's, and I'm like, you don't have to, but sure. And I got into it partly because of her recommendation, and partly because I think it just started doing the Golden Age arc, and I like to watch you guys especially when it's like stuff that I know, and I'm like, okay, I should probably give this a chance now. And you know, me being kind of, because obviously it's nerve-wracking a bit to get into a series that's as acclaimed as Berserk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh man, I really hope I do love it. And like from chapter 1 onwards, I was just like, I think I read the first 3 volumes in like one continuous sitting, and I only stopped because I had to go do something with my family. And then the second I got home, I like turned on my laptop, like, I need to know what happens next.
Yes.
And it was so fun, because I even remember that same friend was like, she was telling me like, okay, there's some stuff you might find Puck annoying, and then I'm reading it, I'm like, what are you talking about? Puck's great.
Yeah.
Literally, literally, yeah. No way. There's no way. For the first, I think someone in the chat said too, like, I just started reading Berserk and I will die for Puck.
If anything happens to Puck,
I will
I'm
riot,
rioting, yeah.
and that's how I felt too. But
Yeah.
And,
Puck is delightful.
for real.
And it was also funny because I was reading, because I do this, I compare series that I'm kind of reading. I read a couple of things at once, and so I'm like kind of judging it. And I was thinking about like, Puck just reminds me of Anya from Spy Family. He just has the best reaction, especially like later in the series. His reaction phases just are so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Will, you did it. You found a way to organically bring up Spy Family again.
I did. And you know what's funny? I was actually thinking about making a joke about that, but then I'm like, oh, this actually, I can lean into it because it's actually true as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and so I started reading it, and then I finished like, this was like the biggest case of me going like one more chapter I think I've ever gone through, because after I finished the Black Swordsman arc, it goes into the Golden Age arc, and again, I think I was reading it sort of as you guys were, but then it got to the point where I'm like, I'm literally incapable of stopping myself from continuing right now.
Yeah.
I blasted through like the Millennium Falcon arc in one day, and then I blasted through Fantasia the day after that. I got really into it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where because I've actually been rereading it with the deluxe editions promo code Josh Magic Michaels.
Yes. 50% off. I wish.
I love that meme. But yeah, I started buying those like once I got my new job. It was actually my first purchase, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read these properly. So I bought 2 of the deluxe editions, and that's when I really started paying attention to, like, 'cause not that I don't pay attention to art, but it's also kind of like, I admit, I don't pay as much attention to art as sometimes I wish I do. At least not on first reads.
Yeah.
because I've said this before, it usually takes me like 2 reads to get something fully set in my mind. Like that was the case with Chainsaw Man. It was definitely the case with Berserk, where like
you could say once for the story and like twice for the art, right? That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. And I remember like rereading it, and I'm just like, these spreads are awesome, and I can't believe I just kind of like scrolled past them without giving them like the attention they actually deserve. Because some of the like, dude, get the Mona Lisa out of there. Put some of the like the Berserk like
yes
there, like,
for real,
dude, like
for real.
We've seen the Mona Lisa, we get it, okay? Like let's start hanging up in museums, in art museums, some of Miura's art.
Yeah, I mean they had that whole like installation of that Miura, like a museum or like an art kind of showcase of like panels just framed and like how they should be on a freaking wall for all to see
and even the
and
Zod,
admire.
like, figures that were there, the sculptures,
the
I would
life
say.
size, Dragon Slayer. I mean, it was just immaculate, and I wish we had more like of that in the States for sure, because we do see, there's so many museums of these old pictures, which is like, I'm not discrediting artists at all, but I feel like a lot of the time museums, it is the same type of photo of like like plants or like scenery, and how awesome would it be for something like that, like a museum of these mangaka's work, because they are works of art. They're just considered maybe not by society because they're in something that you read, but it's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Megan's saying get all the art out
it's
of the
done.
museums.
It's over.
It's over.
I'm done with it.
Van Gogh.
I cough at Van Gogh.
I don't know if it's Van Gogh or Van Gogh, but I get
Van Gogh's
it.
got a Van Gogh.
Yeah, Van Gogh can bang. Get out of here.
Go.
Just kidding.
We appreciate
I
art.
appreciate
Yeah,
but
but
even Van Gogh's art. I appreciate that.
no.
But I get the sentiment.
You get it.
I get the sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then also with it, because like the last chapter of Berserk came out as I was reading it, and I was so in love with everything I was reading, and I didn't want it to end, and then, I was kind of keeping it inside, like mostly, but then like I get to that final chapter, and knowing that it's the final chapter, I couldn't help but like just start like tearing up, and then like the final page happens, and like this is the most heartbreaking thing, just because knowing there's not going to be more.
Yeah,
literally.
And I remember as soon as I read that, I was like, I thought to myself, for being so incomplete, this is probably one of the best endings I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did. I mean, it was like kind of a bummer, obviously, that we didn't get to see the ending that Miura would have made.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually don't mind where it ended, and I actually, for in terms of just the story, like I mean, all of that being left open to interpretation, like it oddly felt a little fitting. I mean, it's a very unfortunate circumstance, but it felt like even like a couple chapters before or maybe even after would have been like, there would have been more unanswered questions, or it would have been maybe not as good of a place for it to have, again, unfortunately ended. But it did feel oddly like...
It felt right because we had, the three, main characters of this series. I'm not going to say more in detail if you haven't read it, but we get to see, the kind of like beginning and end of their journey.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, assuming Miura hadn't passed away, that was one of those things where it's like, if this is the final chapter, like, this could go on, but at the same time, if this is the last chapter I ever get, I am more than happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then obviously because of circumstances it was, but I really do think it was a beautiful place to end, especially because it, how do I say this? It was like everyone just was in the perfect scenario by the end.
Mm-hmm.
I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like something that Guts does that I'm not going to say for obvious reasons. I don't want to spoil it, but something that Guts does in the final chapter is just so not what early Guts would do.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
And it really is just like, it's like a master in, because like I know people are always like, oh, nothing's perfect, and Berserk, I have my fair share of issues with Berserk that I won't go into, but I always say like Berserk's not a perfect series, it's just a series with so many perfect moments that the stuff that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, I barely bring up when I talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, yeah, it's just so good.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to derail the conversation, but my phone died, and we are simultaneously streaming on Kumu, and my phone died again. Mehgan, is there any way you think you can maybe pull it up?
Yeah, I think
on
I
your
could,
phone.
I could try.
Sorry to take away from the beautiful things you were saying, Will.
Kumu game.
Can't believe this.
I can't believe it
So
either.
unprofessional, dude. What
Dude,
the heck?
What the heck?
I can't believe you've done this, Josh.
I dropped the ball.
Ay, ay, ay.
But yeah, man, it was oddly fitting, and I do appreciate, and it is cool to see that there are fans who are so connected to these characters in this world that they've taken it upon themselves. Like with this one person in particular, I don't know if you got a chance to see some of the pages in the Discord that Mr. Stealing Your Waifu posted from this other artist. But I'm also. I think he put it in general discussion. It was this very talented artist who took it upon himself to kind of continue the story, his interpretation of where the story would have gone, which I think is really cool. But I also am happy. A lot of people, of course, were asking too, like, did Miura leave notes to his assistants, or is his assistants going to take over? Like, if that, and I always say the same thing. Like, if it's explicitly stated somewhere that is what he wanted, if he wished for that to happen, then by all means, respect his wish. But if it wasn't said specifically anywhere, then I'm also fine with it ending where it did.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. If it's like a Robert Jordan situation where he knows he's gonna pass away, so he seeks out someone else to like finish his work, I think that's fine because the author gave his approval. But if unless they find like something from Miura saying, hey, in case of my passing, you may continue my series, and then like here's like a storyboard of where it goes. I don't want any more of it, and I don't need any more of it. We got the perfect amount.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to read the memorial one shot by any chance? By any chance?
Unfortunately, not. I might do that like after the live.
Yeah,
because I really wanted to. But yeah, no, it's just. I was
no.
It's all good.
I was hearing you guys talking about it earlier, and you were like, "Oh, so and so is inspired by Corcus." I'm like, "Oh, poor guy."
That's exactly what String Your Wife is like. Imagine your friend writes this manga and it's super successful and it's like the biggest thing and he's regarded so highly for it, and your character, he saved a special spot for you. He actually based you off of this character called Corcus. Imagine the guy just like reading it is just like, wait,
I'd be honored.
when does he
Yeah,
does
yeah, he must be a really cool character then, right?
Yeah, he must save the day at some point.
yeah, he must be a really brave guy, huh?
I think you meant Serpico, right? I think you meant to say that he based Serpico off me.
And he's like, no, sure.
For sure,
yeah,
Corcus.
Yeah.
It's uncanny.
Whoever Miura based Serpico off of must be the coolest fucking guy.
Yeah,
literally.
Serpico is like one of my favorite characters.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's
I
awesome.
consider, like every character, because like even like all the characters who you don't like at first, they by the end you're like, okay, you're cool, and I'm happy that you're with the gang.
Roderick?
Yeah. Roderick out of nowhere? What? This man is also cool as shit?
Yeah, it's also a series where like all these characters you think are going to be like these snobby dickheads, even if they may start off that way. By the end, you're like, okay, I can see traveling with guts.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's also just like the two series that I always credit now as being like masters of character development are Berserk and Vinland Saga.
Vinland Saga is something that we need to continue.
Yeah, for sure.
You do, please, please, God.
Yeah.
Miura.
Please, Miura.
No, yeah, we really did enjoy it, and I've seen obviously like scenes from the anime too, and I it's just something that I really want to.
The anime
get back
looks
on.
pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
But did you happen to see any trailers for that movie, The Northman? I was like,
did, yes,
this feels like Vinland Saga, like straight up Vinland Saga.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I don't know how much of that is me being like, oh, Vikings.
Right. But I mean, Thorfinn's like kind of what I know about his character arc seemed like it was also the same character arc that was happening in The Northman based on the trailers, you know.
Yeah, without spoiling Vinland Saga, the character development Thorfinn goes through, I think is like second to none. It's only like on par with like Guts, I think.
Wow.
Ooh.
Holy
Like,
shit.
again, not gonna spoil it, but like where like his story goes is incredible, and I'm super excited for season 2.
Damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to catch up ASAP.
Same.
Plus, you want to talk about beautiful physical copies. I mean, nothing again beats the deluxe editions for Berserk.
I mean,
those
insane.
are fantastic. But I just love the like regular physical copies of Vinland Saga. They're like little Bibles, dude.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I love them.
I was at a bookstore a couple weeks ago with the same friend who recommended Berserk to me in the first place, and we were passing through the manga aisle, and I saw, I think it was like a hardcover copy of Vinland Saga Volume 1, and the thing is, I had already picked up like $100 worth of book stuff there, and I was like, it was very hard for me to walk out of that store without Vinland Saga, but you know, my
had
bank
to.
account thanked me.
Yeah, you had to.
Yeah.
And it was already.
You gotta make some sacrifices.
It was already in your mind and in your heart. You didn't need to have it on your shelf at that point. Yeah.
I need that on a shirt. It's already in your mind and in your heart. You don't need it. I need that. That's like my mantra when I wake up in the morning. When I go to Barnes and Noble, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I already have it in my heart. I have it in my mind. I don't need it on my shelves. Repeat that to yourself like 5 times before you leave.
Yeah, because I'll walk out of Barnes and Noble broke.
Oh yeah.
I'll overdraw my account at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm so happy my mom got me like it's a Kobo, which is essentially like a Kindle recently, and I've been buying like, it's like, this isn't an ad, but they're like the books that are like significantly cheaper. So I've been like just like going through stuff, and I'm like, God, this is so good. It's so cheap.
Yeah,
but at the same time, because it's so cheap, the prices of all the things I buy do kind of add up.
That too, and you know, there is, and I think there always will be a part of me. I don't know why, like digital, like reading things digitally, I think is kind of a superior reading experience, only for the fact that like, you know, you can read in like very dimly lit areas, and sometimes like when you have a reading light, it casts shadows and it's like hard to see. You can really appreciate the art on a digital like Kindle type of screen. You can really appreciate everything and the layout of the page a lot more. However, there will always be something in me that just like has to have physical copy.
The physical copy.
Like,
I mean, it's just like you have it. It's like this physical representation of something that you love, just like on the shelf. Like, it's just so exciting, and it brings me so much joy. And I've like recently been growing my manga collection, and it's so hard to stop. It's so hard to stop. And I made a promise, like, okay, I don't want to read it on like Viz or Shonen. Like, I want to be able to go out and buy the physical, so I don't have to like read it all and then collect after. You know, it's so much fun to keep on it. Just like, you know, imagine like reading Chainsaw Man when the physical volumes were being like released.
Yeah,
like,
that would have sucked.
Yeah,
that would have sucked.
there are certain series where I'm absolutely buying it. Like next volume of Chainsaw Man coming out is the last volume for part 1.
Yes.
I have all 10 volumes of that physically. I'm for the 11th. I'm not gonna be like, well, I mean, I'm not gonna get the 11th volume now. Like, no.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, for real. Yeah, I can't wait to complete that. I don't have I don't think I have.
You have 10 was the last one you bought.
I don't think I bought 10. I think, did I?
I don't know.
I
bought
think
10.
I did. Yeah, maybe I did.
Bro, I was so excited for the freaking physical copies to come out that I bought them in Japanese before they even came out in English, and I have like doubles
Dan to
now.
Dan, you have Dan to Dan too in
yeah.
Japanese.
I think the only time I did that, where like not it wasn't for a manga, but like I was so excited for the video game Persona 5 Strikers, I almost paid like $100 and something to have a Japanese copy shipped to me. But then I was like, because like then the English version came out like a year later. But I
That's what me and my brothers would always do. Like we would always, because at the time it was like you didn't know if they were gonna make this game an English version of this game.
True.
So I remember the little GameCube disc that you had to put in before you put in the Japanese game so that it could like read it properly, and then we would just play all the Zatch Bell game, the Naruto game, like all these anime games, and not really understand. Like, dude, we would go through this like the main menu, and we were like not even know what we're clicking on, like not even knowing like what we're doing, but we would figure it out. It was fun.
I read a little side thing that reminded me of the most Naruto experience I have is through some of the games like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2.
Yeah.
And I played that game because I was super young. I don't remember how old I was when I played that, but I was playing with the English dub, and I was so confused because the mouth movements didn't match at all. And I was like, why is I didn't realize it's because it's 3D, so they can't match the lips up properly until like years later. I'm like, oh, so now I can. When I realized that, I switched it to Japanese. I'm like, okay, good. I can play this without like my mind like.
Yeah. It's like the slightly off. It drives you crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. But,
yeah. Well, thank you, Will, for calling in, dude. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Anything else you'd like to talk about?
I would just like to thank you for doing this. Like 1 year passing of one of the greatest, mangaka to ever live. There's never, I think you said, or someone said this earlier, there's never going to be another Miura, and there shouldn't be. And I don't mean there shouldn't be someone making good quality stuff. There just shouldn't be someone, doing what Miura did the way he did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And just thank you for doing this. And it was really, because I didn't even realize it was a year until someone posted it.
I know. Yeah, I know.
And I don't know, like, it's weird because I was just like in my room, I was playing a game, and I just checked my phone and I see that like it's almost been 1 year, and like it was the same thing with the end where like the tears started coming up again. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, crazy, right? Because it was also just like realizing how much time had passed, and it just seemed like it seems like in a way like it was kind of like just last month or a couple months ago. But
definitely.
But also it also feels like it was like a while ago as well. Like it feels like it was recent, but it also feels like it was forever ago.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what Koji Mori, the mangaka who wrote this memorial one shot, like he even kind of says something similar, where he's like, I know that this person is gone and they have been gone, but he's like, but it also doesn't really feel like they're gone, like just that same sort of feeling. It's wild. Yeah.
So thanks for doing this, and thanks for being. I was reading this also because of my friend's recommendation, but it was also like a big reason why I went through it as fast as I did is because I wanted to make sure I was up to date with you guys.
Awesome.
I wanted to make sure I could watch, you guys cover the Conviction arc or, Millennium Falcon. And, I ended up getting a bit ahead of myself. And thank you for doing this. And thank you for celebrating the life of one of the greats.
Heck yeah, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on,
Hope you have a great day.
Thank you for your kind words. And next time we have you on, I mean, this was very cordial and it was paying our respects, like you said. But maybe next time you come on, we'll duke it out a little bit.
Oh,
you got it. I'll fly over to LA and I'll bring my boxing gloves. We'll do a YouTube style boxing match.
Oh, okay, all right, hell yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Another Chad. Another Chad. Full of Chads. Community full of Chads.
For real.
I fucking love Will, dude. Will is just one of the kindest, sweetest.
He really is.
Yeah, people. Genuine people in our community. Dude, people are over here talking about reading manga on a projector over here. I saw that too. I was like, I gotta get a 50-inch TV so I can read. I've never even thought of that, dude. I've never even thought about like imagine reading Berserk on like having it projected on a wall or maybe even like on a big ass.
Wild. That'd
be crazy. Like,
I don't know if my brain could process it. I'd be like,
yeah, it'd be like the freaking brand of the sacrifice or like the behelit, freaking blood be coming out. Because it'd be imagine turning it horizontally sideways. That'd be intense. That'd be epic. Well, guys, we've almost been live for, I think, coming up on around 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to wrap things up and end things here. But again, we did just want to take a little bit of time to just remember a great human being and a great, definitely, artist. Someone who impacted us, touched so many people, inspired so many people. Again, just really an amazing life, an amazing life's work, and also to talk about a very dear friend of his, and to discuss the memorial one shot that he had written, and to know that there's going to be more of it coming out. I mean, this is basically what he's saying very directly, that there's going to be more stories of the life of Miura. And it's a beautiful thing to celebrate a beautiful soul, who, again, just is a goat who touched so many people across the freaking world. So thank you guys for being here and just kind of remembering and celebrating his life with us. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all the callers. We appreciate everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
It was nice to congregate and to just remember this beautiful series.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming, and again, like, this series just is so important to us, and the fact that we were able to share it with you guys, and you guys share your thoughts with us. I mean, it is just something that I'll never ever forget. Yeah.
So we love all of you guys, and we hope you guys are having a great day, and we wish you the best. But stay tuned for some of the stuff that we have released coming out this week. We got more Bleach coming out this week. We got a fun, different type of One Piece video coming out soon this week. A lot of fun stuff coming. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for your support. I mean, even all the kind words that the callers said. I mean, that we literally gave this man a chance to plug, a platform to plug, and he just wanted to say some nice stuff about us. That was insane and wild, and touched our hearts, and does truly, honestly mean so much to us.
It does.
Like, that is incredible, and you guys are incredible, and thank you for sharing in this experience.
I love you guys so much.
Thank you for sharing in this experience, with us, being a part of this experience with us. But yeah, R.I.P. the GOAT, Miura, rest in peace. Just a legend. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I think that's a good way to end it, to say, like, rest in peace, Miura.
Yeah.
We will leave you here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And remember, or until next time. It just sounds weird to say.
Yeah, you could just say it.
Yeah, it sounds a little disrespectful. I'm trying to be respectful.
Rest in...
Okay, ready to go to even a 3, 2, 1 seems a little disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying. Just say it. You cut me off.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Rest in peace, Kentaro Miura.
Rest in peace, Kentaro Miura.